The restaurant was alive with its usual evening energy. Silverware clinked, conversations blended together, and the faint melody of soft jazz played in the background. At one of the most expensive tables sat a man who carried himself with an air of authority. He was no ordinary customer. He was Richard Grant, a billionaire CEO, powerful, sharp, and feared in the business world. Richard was the type of man people noticed the moment he entered a room. He wore a tailored suit worth more than most people's monthly salaries, and his gold watch gleamed under the soft light. The staff whispered about him in the kitchen, both nervous and excited. Serving him was considered an honor, but also a test. He was known for being demanding, and one mistake could cost someone their job. Tonight, his waitress was a young woman named Maya. She was graceful but visibly nervous as she approached his table, notepad in hand. "Good evening, sir," she said softly, forcing a smile. Richard didn't look up from his phone. "Steak, medium rare, and make it quick." Maya paused for a moment, biting her lip, before nodding politely. "Yes, sir. Right away." To him, it was just another order. To her, it was another reminder of how invisible she felt while working here. But she had learned not to take it personally. Some customers never truly saw the person behind the uniform. Back in the kitchen, Maya took a deep breath. Her coworkers noticed her trembling hands. "You okay?" another waiter asked. She nodded, though her heart was racing for reasons no one else knew. Tonight wasn't just another shift for Maya. She had recognized Richard Grant the moment he walked in. The name, the face, it was all too familiar. When the steak was finally ready, Maya placed it carefully on the tray. But before she carried it out, she hesitated. She pulled a small folded piece of paper from her apron pocket. She had written it during her break earlier, unsure if she would ever have the courage to actually give it to him. But something inside her told her she had to. With a deep breath, she placed the note under the edge of the plate and walked back out. Richard barely glanced at her as she set the meal down. "About time," he muttered. "Enjoy your meal, sir," Maya replied, her voice steady but her hands trembling as she walked away. A few minutes later, Richard noticed the folded paper under his plate. Frowning, he picked it up, expecting perhaps a complaint from the kitchen, or worse, a desperate attempt to get his attention. Slowly, he unfolded it. The words on the page made his chest tighten. "Thank you. Because of your company's scholarship fund, I was able to go to college. Without it, I would still be struggling to feed my little brother. You don't know me, but your money changed my life." Richard froze. His fork slipped from his hand, clattering against the plate. He read the note again, this time slower, each word sinking deeper into his heart. He looked up, scanning the restaurant for the waitress. She was across the room, serving another table, smiling warmly at a family with kids. For the first time that evening, he truly looked at her. She wasn't just a waitress. She was someone whose life had been shaped by something he had dismissed as just business. Richard had always seen his company's scholarship programs as a corporate strategy, a way to polish his reputation and earn goodwill. He rarely thought about where the money actually went, or who it touched. But now, here she was, a living reminder. His mind drifted back to conversations with his board members. "It's just good PR," they would say. And he had agreed. But now, it wasn't just PR. It was a young woman who had gone to college because of it. It was her little brother who had food on the table. Because of it. Unable to shake the weight in his chest, Richard called the restaurant manager over. "Who is that waitress?" he asked quietly. The manager, startled, glanced over. "That's Maya, sir. One of our best. She's hard-working, always polite." Richard nodded, more to himself than to the manager. His thoughts raced. Later, as Maya returned to check on his table, she was surprised to see the usually cold CEO looking directly at her. His eyes softened, almost human for once. "Miss," he said, clearing his throat, "that note, did you write it?" Maya froze, unsure if she had made a mistake. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry if I overstepped." "No." His voice cracked slightly. "Don't apologize." He set his utensils down and leaned forward. "Tell me, what did you study?" Maya blinked, not expecting the question. "Business administration. I wanted to follow in the footsteps of the people who gave me a chance." Richard felt his chest tighten again. For years, he had measured his success in numbers, profits, assets, stock prices. But hearing her words, he realized there were other ways to measure it, ways he had never cared to consider. "Do you still want to work in business?" he asked. "Yes," Maya said softly. "But opportunities are hard to come by. So for now, I'm here. Taking care of my brother, saving every penny I can." Richard nodded slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. He saw the determination, the resilience, and the quiet strength. It was something no resume could capture. That night, he left the restaurant without touching his steak. But before he walked out, he handed Maya his business card. "Call my office," he said quietly. "Ask for me directly. I want to hear more of your story." Maya stared at the card in disbelief, her hands trembling. She had no words, only a tearful smile as she whispered, "Thank you, sir." As Richard stepped into his car, he held the note in his hand, reading it again under the dim light. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't thinking about profits or power. He was thinking about impact, about people, about the unseen lives touched by his choices. And in that moment, the billionaire who thought he had everything realized he had been missing something far more important, the true value of giving.